The Alternative Blend is made possible through the generous underwriting support of the Green Solution.
Hi, everybody. You know, as we do more and more of these segments, we're starting to hear, at least I am, a lot about sativa and indica and microdosing and edibles and infused products, and it's starting to get a little bit muddled for me. I don't know if it is for you too, so just in case it is, I asked Kyle to come by. He's a marketing director for multiple brands that are sold throughout dispensaries here in the state of Colorado. One of those dispensaries is the Green Solution. Full disclosure, they are an underwriter of this program, and we really appreciate Kyle coming and helping us through some of this. Kyle, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's, if you don't mind, I'm just going to jump right in because, as I said, in the moment when I hear about these things and I have a segment and somebody explains that I got it, then I have another segment about something else and there's overlapping information, and then all of a sudden I'm in a rabbit hole and I'm not sure I'm getting muddled. So if you can back us up maybe and maybe start with the basics, like all of us hear so much about sativa and indica. Sativa, one's supposed to bring you up and happy, one's supposed to chill you out, make you kind of tough. So, but you say it's not that black and white.
No.
Help me with sativa and indica. Let's start there.
Sure. So, it's definitely not that cut and dry. Not that black and white at all. So, I'll preface by saying, we can't definitively say, we can't definitively say much for certain because cannabis is still a Schedule I drug.
Right.
And so, with that being said, with that preface, there's over 100 different terpenes that are known in cannabis. A lot of times when you look it up, it'll say 120, something like that we've actually found in cannabis.
And most of them not studied, really.
And that's the problem with it being Schedule I. But what we do know is some of the most prevalent terpenes in cannabis: myrcene, humulene, linalool. These are all terpenes that are again prevalent in cannabis, the main ones, and these are almost all of the main terpenes are associated with a sedative effect. A lot of them. So myrcene and humulene being the main two, and again, because we don't have a lot of testing, we don't know for certain, but from what everyone's read and what everyone has been talking about, the end user hears that myrcene and humulene are supposed to make you tired, down, relaxed, stuff like that. So the problem lies where all of these cannabis strains that are high in these terpenes that are supposed to make you tired or sedating, they have sativa written on them. And so
sativa is
so
supposed
as
to be
a consumer, exactly. Sativa is supposed to be,
or happy.
I don't like to say,
relax.
I think uplifting can be a good one. What I don't like to hear, that I hear too often, is energetic.
I don't need that. No. I need the opposite.
And most people.
But is it fair to say it makes people? It's a mood enhancer.
Sure.
A positive mood enhancer.
I like that more than energetic. This is not drinking caffeine.
Okay, so sativa is more of a positive mood enhancer, typically. But you're trying to tell us that terpene content makes the difference.
Exactly, and so what we're starting to see is a push from basically, the biggest push is how the plant grows. So a lot of these cultivators, a lot of the growers are starting to say, okay, you can't call a plant a sativa or indica based on how it makes you feel. You need to call the plant an indica or sativa based on how it grows. So an indica and sativa grow totally different. But the strange thing is that that's indica and that sativa that grow totally different could have very, very, very similar
properties,
flavonoids, terpenes, and everything. And so to sell that to a consumer saying, this is going to make you energetic or active, then more so than this particular strain, just because it says indica, is really where the main guts of this really lies.
Well, and to your point, it takes research, right? Because so much of this is anecdotal, but it really helps me understand why a friend of mine said sativa does the opposite for me. Sativa does not enhance my mood. It makes me want to rest, relax, chill out.
Everyone's different.
And it may be the terpene content.
Everyone's cannabinoid receptors are different. Not all terpenes bind to cannabinoid receptors. And so, long story short, we don't know. There is no definitive, without cannabis being rescheduled and actually studied by legitimate practices, we don't know. We're not going to know. We can do our best, and with the limited amount of research and studying that's being done.
So it's a little bit trial and error.
It's trial and error. What I would suggest for consumers is to try a few different things. and see how it makes you feel. But really try to get the indica sativa out of your mind. And what I think consumers will start seeing more of are products that are specifically tailored because of their terpene content. So for example, if there's a terpene that is definitely more uplifting and has, in terms of the spectrum, if they have properties that are totally different than some other properties of terpenes, then that's what you want to try and see how it makes you feel. Because, again, everyone's cannabinoid receptors are different. Everyone's bodies are different. And so we don't know. And so it really is, it's unfortunate because it is a trial and error.
So you would suggest looking further than just sativa and indica
Absolutely.
as a top line, but dive in and see where
what terpenes are actually in the product.
And maybe
so,
even where it was grown.
Yeah, exactly. So what you're going to start seeing are more terpene analysis, more actual results from testing of the terpenes for products.
Okay.
And that's what you're going to want to base your, at least more so than just an indica sativa classification, that's what you're going to base more of your effect on.
So between now and then and more research, what I'm learning here is I'm going to go in and I want something that's going to make my mood enhance positive, and I think of sativa, and maybe I try something, and maybe it doesn't work for me, or maybe it doesn't really change, maybe it chills me out, right?
Yeah.
Instead, maybe the next time I go get a sativa with totally different properties.
Yeah,
Right?
100%.
Is that where
a
you
lot
are?
of products on the market right now are classified as indica or sativa, and when you look at actually what goes into them, nothing is definitive. It's unfortunately, it's almost like people are just putting a word on there to help it sell.
Yeah, because those are just they're commonplace, really.
Exactly.
If you will.
And so,
and for people like me who are cannabis curious, haven't really tried cannabis yet. I'm very much a believer in the health and wellness piece of it. But if I want to just kind of chill out, or I want to, maybe my kids are driving me crazy, not that you would, and I just want to change my mood to be a little happier.
Sure.
I've learned something. It's not as black and white, and I need to do my research.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's less research, more trial and error now until the cannabis gets rescheduled. Once that happens and we have studies that come out, then we'll be able to actually utilize that research to not only buy products that are already utilizing that research, the manufacturers are utilizing that research to make the products, but you're going to know now. You're going to know when you see humulene mixed with high amounts of humulene with another terpene, you're going to know more than you did a year ago, or 2 years ago, or whenever pre-rescheduling.
It certainly is evolving so quickly. But in the meantime, what I can do is try different properties as opposed to trying. Sativa saying sativa didn't work for me. Well, that's not necessarily true. What was it made of? What were the products in it? What were the terpenes in it? And then try something else. Got it. Okay. And so then tell me a little bit about, all the rage is microdosing. What does that mean?
Yeah, so microdosing is basically, so the state of Colorado deems one serving 10 milligrams of THC for one serving. And this is a little bit controversial. I talk to people all the time that say, this is way too low. I talk to people all the time that say this is way too high.
Seems high for me in the audience that we're trying to serve here.
Absolutely.
That seems high.
So for example, my mom, she loves taking half of one serving, 5 milligrams. To a lot of people in this state, to most people in this state, that's considered a microdose. To my mom, that's considered a dose.
And your mother takes that, excuse me, for what?
Sleep. Okay. I don't consume as much as I used to anymore. But when I do consume, it's mainly for sleep. It's combining 2 or more cannabinoids to help me sleep, and that's what works best for my mom and myself.
And for a dose for you or a dose for me, or a dose for your mother, all
totally different. Yeah, totally different.
So a microdose would be considered anything that's under 10 milligrams.
By the state, but each individual could be totally different. For example, my normal dose, if I want to get all the benefits and sleep really well and not go over the top, but also make sure to get a good dose, it's 80 to 100 milligrams is my typical dose. And so microdosing for me would probably be more like 5 to 10,
Okay, yeah.
So almost 10 could be a microdose for some people, depending on their tolerance.
So microdosing just really means smaller amounts of your tolerable level.
It does.
I mean, that's kind of how
on an individual level. On a state level, a microdose, if you see something that says microdose on the package,
it's
you're
under
most
10.
likely it's going to be under 10.
So
100%.
we know this for sure.
It's either going to be, 2 to 5 milligrams.
Do you see the industry moving toward developing more and more of the microdosing?
Absolutely, yeah. I think what people are finding are instead of just eating a bunch of THC high levels, to get more therapeutic benefits, to get the benefits without getting overly stoned,
Right.
or feeling the effects a lot more than they want to.
Yeah.
It's lowering the amount of THC, adding more other cannabinoids in there, and so what we're seeing is not only microdosing becoming really big, but moreover microdosing going hand in hand with additional cannabinoids. So, for example, we're working on a product right now that's a 5 milligram THC, 25 milligram CBD. So it's a 5 to 1. And so for a lot of people, that's going to be the perfect dose. For me, this is something that I could eat, throughout the day and be completely fine, not overly intoxicated, not affecting my work or anything like that. And so, so that's going to be a really, really, really good product for a multitude of reasons. And there's already some out there right now that are really, really good, specifically the 5 to 1, 10 to 1. But what we're seeing is not only the combination of cannabinoids, but they're taking that and then making it into a microdose. So you're not only getting a microdose, but you're getting the benefits of the cannabinoids working synergistically.
And the 5 to 1 blend.
And a 5 to 1 blend.
And then a microdose of that for a consumer like me who's just jumping in.
Sure.
And maybe I want to relax during the day, but I don't want to be high. I don't want the psychoactive effect.
Exactly.
But I want to chill out because I'm kind of hyper. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm a little bit hyper. And if I could take something that would kind of just take the edge off, slow me down a little bit, but not really affect me in that way, like psychoactively, that a microdose of a 5 to 1 would be perfect for someone like me.
Yeah, I think what people
in theory.
Sure. And I think what people are finding out is just THC or just CBD isn't always the best. They work together for the most part from what we know. Again, I prefaced with we don't know everything, nothing's definitive, but from my limited amounts of research, from my limited amounts of experience over the past few years, consuming products, just CBD, just THC, and a combination of both, we're seeing everyone is starting to feel the same thing, which is CBD helps when there's THC or other cannabinoids involved, and vice versa. And so,
well, there was a doctor on it that explained to us at one point that the little kick of THC enhances that CBD or the cannabinoids in a way that is more brain focused. In other words, if let's say I'm taking a product, the way he explained it, if I'm using a topical and it's maybe my wrist hurts and I'm using a topical and that's helping right there, right on the spot or right in that area, locally, thank you, locally. And then the little kick of THC is helping my brain say it's chill, it's fine. And that's how he explained it. I don't know how real that is, but that's kind of how it was explained. Yeah.
Again, it's just we gotta get cannabis reclassified and then be able to really dive in and have millions of dollars worth of research to really understand this plant.
And what do you see on the horizon for the industry? Do you see that happening soon? Do you think it's 3 years away, 5 years away, 1 year away? What really is your gut?
3. I'd say reclassification within 3. Yeah, it's just it's I thought last year it was a tipping point, but it's not. It's going to come soon. It has to. There's just so much pressure from a multitude of areas that they have to do it soon.
You think the most important flip is who controls the Senate, or do you think it's
I don't know anymore.
Yeah,
honestly.
I'm just
so
curious.
Strange.
It's another
so
conversation
strange.
for another time. But I'm really curious if that is the stronghold, because it seems to me Congress.
You got to get a lobbyist in here or something.
Well, I'm going to try. I'm going to get somebody in from the administration.
Yeah.
But before we go, tell me a little bit about we're not really a product show, but I am kind of curious about this product that you represent, this Nanobites product.
Yeah. So Dosed is our edible brand, and the Nanobites are basically just a gummy that was created to mimic the Haribo or Trolley gummy that you would buy at the grocery store or at the gas station.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of fruit chews, but these are actually meant to be chewy and bouncy like an actual gummy bear.
They look really good, and this scares me for having kids in the house.
Yes, and that's why it is child-resistant packaging. That's actually a pretty hard package to get into.
Yeah.
And so these are great because they do have CBD and THC in them, and there was a pretty good study in California California Pacific Medical Center in San Francisco. They did a study with brain cancer patients and breast cancer patients, and they noticed that when THC and CBD were combined, the effects were much, much stronger.
That's wonderful.
The anti-tumor effects, not only the pain, everything. And so, again, just hitting on the fact that the CBD and THC and the cannabinoids working together is huge.
Well, what I like about, and we have to wrap, but what I like about this product is, to your point, if someone is suffering from something. It may be pain, it may be a lack of sleep, it may be stress. We don't have to smoke something.
Not at all
We
anymore.
don't have to, those of us who don't want to vape, we don't have to, we can have a nice little juicy gummy bear type product.
Fruit chew,
and
anything, you
chill,
name it. Yeah.
which I think is wonderful. Well,
Yeah,
we're out of
awesome.
time. I can't believe it went so quickly.
It's all good.
I hope you'll come back and visit us again.
Absolutely,
Thank
yeah.
you for
Thank
helping
you so
educate
much.
us a little bit.
Yeah,
Appreciate
it.
All right, guys, that's it for today. In the meantime, until next time, let's keep talking.
The alternative blend is made possible through the generous underwriting support of the Green Solution.